is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد, dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to this new segment of Ask Huda, broadcasting to you live from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. And as you will find displayed underneath the numbers that you can call and post your questions if you have any questions, and I'll do my level best to answer those that I have knowledge and those that I have answers for, inshallah, with the grace of Allah Azza wa Jal. Until that time comes, there are a number of pending questions on the emails, and I do apologize for the brothers and sisters who were trying yesterday to post their questions on the website, which you will also find, inshallah, the link for displayed to you. It is undergoing a facelift, and inshallah, hopefully in the few coming days, we will try to solve all the bugs there are, and inshallah it will be up and running. Aisha says, what is your opinion about hypnosis in Islam? There isn't anything as such in Islam, hypnosis. So this is something new. And in order to judge it, we have to look into it. And those who researched this topic and issue, they say that it is scientifically baseless. To be able to make someone who's under the hypnosis, or if you wish to say under the spell, talk about things that are unknown to him, to tell you things of the unseen, and to do things that usually humans are unable to do or unable to tolerate, this clearly indicates that jinn are involved. Whether with the knowledge of the person doing this hypnosis, the one who's doing the hypnotizing, or without his knowledge. Maybe he thinks that this is something that can be done and that can have some reality to it, and he does it. And the jinn use him for their own purposes. Or he may know that he's seeking the help of jinn, and this means that he has to offer them forms of worship, and he has to get close to them by either slaughtering or executing some of their demands. As Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned in Surah Al-Jinn, there is a chapter in the Quran by the name of Jinn, وَأَنَّهُ كَانَ رِجَالٌ مِّنَ الْإِنسِ يَعُوذُونَ بِرِجَالٍ مِّنَ الْجِنِّ فَزَادُوهُمْ رَهَقًا. That there were men from the humans, among the humans, who used to seek refuge in men among the jinn. And this indicates to us that there are men and women among the jinn, but we don't see them. We believe in them and in their existence. And as a result, they made life more difficult for them. And we know that seeking the assistance of jinn is totally prohibited. And unfortunately, there are some Muslims who report a hadith that is weak and it is not authentic at all. And they say that whenever you are lost in the wilderness or you're stranded in some place and you don't know where to go and where to head, then you shout and say, "O servants of Allah, assist me." And they say that you will be guided to your way. And who are the servants of Allah? They say it's jinn. So you can seek the assistance of jinn. And some say it's the angels that you're calling. In both cases, it's wrong. And this is not permissible because you are calling someone other than Allah Azza wa Jal. And people say, but this is something that they can help you in, so it's okay to seek their assistance. And this is nonsense. It's like someone saying that, listen, I have the assistance of jinn, and with my fingernail, I can cut your stomach open, and I can extract the tumor, the cancer tumor, and I can fix it back again. Alhamdulillah. And this is all with the grace of Allah and with the help of the jinn. Is this permissible? The jinn can do wonders. Definitely not. So it is not permissible in Islam to use hypnosis or to go into people who claim that they can help you through hypnotizing you or doing these things, because all of this is not Islam related. The second question from Ibrahim. She said, I delivered my son 4 years ago, and I have my nifas, which is postnatal bleeding, only for a few days. I asked my doctor about my prayers, as I didn't have any other one to ask, and she says that I cannot pray until I finish 40 days, and I did so. Thus, I was clean. My question is, should I perform those prayers that I didn't pray? Ibrahim, this question of yours raises a number of questions. You delivered 4 years ago. Is it logical that you did not find anyone to ask during these 4 long years? This is not realistic, first of all. Second of all, the issue of nifas or postnatal bleeding, this prevents a woman from fasting and it prevents a woman from praying. But the scholars differed in the duration and whether if she got clean within that duration. Is it 40 days or 60 days? The most authentic opinion is that it is 40 days after delivery. And the most authentic opinion is that if a woman sees her purity before 40 days, then she has to have ghusl and she has to commence praying. Now, seeing the purity is known to women. It's either by total dryness that exceeds 24 hours or by seeing the white thread-like discharge, which comes as a sign of purity. So in your case, you did see that, but because you had no one to ask, as you claim, and Allah Azza wa Jalla is your witness, other than the doctor, and most likely the doctor herself did not have knowledge, and a lot of the doctors don't have proper Islamic knowledge, so she gave you what she was raised upon, and that is, you must wait for 40 days, regardless if you get clean after a week or not. Due to this fact that you applied what you thought was the best opinion at the time, the most authentic opinion is that you don't have to make up for these prayers because you did your best and you thought that it was not mandatory and the period is too long. So next time, inshallah, take care and try to ask before 4 years are over. Muhammad from the Emirates.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. How are you?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
I have a question.
I cannot hear the speaker.
Verses which we recite, it is beneficial for us, like Surah Al-Kahf on the day of Jummah or Surah Al-Mulk.
The people in control, I cannot hear neither from my earpiece nor from the speaker.
Okay. Sheikh, there are some surahs. Now
there are some surahs. Wait, let the technician try to raise the volume a little bit in the speaker in the studio. Meanwhile, any fix for this problem? I'm not hearing anything.
But I'm able to hear you clearly.
Okay, yeah, raise your voice a little bit. Try to shout. Maybe I can hear you, Akhi.
Okay, Sheikh, there are some surahs. You are able to hear now?
Yes, from a very bad long distance. But yes, some surahs.
Okay, there are some surahs which are beneficial if we read, like Surah Al-Kahf on the day of Jummah or Surah Al-Mulk. My question is whether these surahs have to be recited by looking at the Quran, or it is sufficient even if we recite it during the prayer.
Okay. Any more questions?
That's it, Sheikh.
Okay, I will answer your question, inshallah. Brother Muhammad from the Emirates had a question, and the question is very sound and very good. We know that we are instructed to read or recite particular surahs, such as Surah Al-Kahf every Friday, and such as Surah Al-Mulk, تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير, before we go to bed. So if a person recites these surahs while in prayer, for example, Surah Al-Kahf, I go to the masjid at 11 o'clock, an hour and a half before the Imam starts his khutbah, and I start praying voluntary prayers. And it's recommended and sunnah to pray as many rak'ahs as you want. You want to pray 50, 100, whatever, this is up to you. And during which, in this prayer, I recite Surah Al-Kahf from memory. I revise it. And I conclude it. Does this do the job? The answer is yes. You have recited Surah Al-Kahf, whether in prayer, whether sitting in the masjid, whenever, you've done what you were supposed to do. Likewise, Surah Al-Mulk. So I prayed Isha, and after Isha, I usually have very little time to sleep because Fajr is early, so let me pray night prayer. So I pray my night prayers, rak'ahs, and I pray in them Surah Al-Mulk. Does this do the job? The answer is yes, because the Prophet ﷺ did not order us to pray or to recite Surah Al-Mulk while we are on our bed, but he used to himself recite it as he was preparing to go to bed. So if you are on your bed or you want to sleep in an hour or half an hour and you're preparing to go to sleep by praying your tahajjud, or it's not a tahajjud, it's a night prayer because you did not sleep before it, and you recite it in your night prayer, this does the job without any problem, inshallah. Lydia has a question, and she says, how many days we should fast in Sha'ban? I used to fast every Monday and Thursday. Now, what's the ruling on fasting Sha'ban? The month of Sha'ban, as reported by Salama, by Aisha, by other companions, may Allah be pleased with them, they said that the Prophet ﷺ did not fast any month more than Ramadan except Sha'ban. So we have 12 months in the year. The ninth month is called Ramadan. And we know that it is one of the pillars of Islam to fast the whole of Ramadan. The other 11 months, the Prophet ﷺ recommended highly to fast the month of Muharram, which is the first month in the lunar calendar. And he said that there is no month better to fast after Ramadan except Muharram. So number one is Ramadan, number two is Muharram. Now, when coming to his own doing, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to fast a lot of Sha'ban. In a narration, he used to fast the whole of Sha'ban and connect it to Ramadan. And it's a different of a dispute, whether is it permissible to fast all of it, like in one narration, or it is best to fast most of it, like in another narration. So the Prophet ﷺ himself was asked about fasting Sha'ban. Why do you often fast Sha'ban? And he said, because this is a month that people usually are heedless of, or they neglect, because it falls between the holy month of Rajab, the sacred month of Rajab, and between Ramadan. So it's a month that people usually don't pay a lot of attention to it, so I'd like to remember Allah Azza wa Jal in it and fast it. So can I fast the whole of the month of Sha'ban? The answer is no, because we know that the Prophet ﷺ told us not to precede Ramadan by a day or two, unless a person is used to fasting these day or two, meaning that if it coincides that the 30th of Sha'ban coincides with a Monday or with a Thursday, and it is your habit to fast every Monday and Thursday throughout the whole year, in this case, even if the day before Ramadan was a Thursday and you fasted it, your fasting is correct. But someone who is not used to fasting at all, and he comes to the 30th day of Sha'ban, and he says, maybe it's Ramadan, we don't know, maybe the sighting of the moon was not correct, so just to be safe, just for the benefit of the doubt, I'm going to fast the 30th of Sha'ban. This is prohibited. This is known as the day of doubt, because if it were cloudy and people were not able to see the moon, the crescent, whether it is tomorrow Ramadan or a completion of 30 days of Sha'ban, they have to, by default, consider it as the 30th of Sha'ban. So whoever fasts it to just be safe, this is prohibited. Coming back to your question, Lydia, so can I fast Sha'ban? The answer is yes, you can fast most of it, preferably leave a day or two before Ramadan, and you can fast the whole thing, inshallah, without any problem. The fourth question is from India. It's not the country, it's a person. And she says, I was asked if hijab is mandatory for non-Muslims, for non-Muslim women living in Muslim lands. I believe some Muslim countries enforce this, but I'm not sure what the ruling is according to the Sunnah. This is an issue of dispute whether the disbelievers are addressed by the minor topics and aspects of Sharia or only the major ones, such as Tawheed, such as pillars of Islam, etc. And the most authentic opinion that they are addressed even by the minor topics and the minor things in Islam. And this is why they will be punished on the Day of Judgment for not doing the things that the Muslims are ordered to do. So it's not only their disbelief that they will be punished for and they will be thrown in hell forever, as Allah mentions in the Quran. By the way, paradise and hell is not mine. It is Allah Azza wa Jal who judged this, and He said, subhanahu wa ta'ala, that those who disbelieve, that those who are not Muslims, because the only religion accepted at the side of Allah is Islam, which is the submission to Allah Azza wa Jal. So whoever does not do this, he will be thrown into hell. So if a woman who is non-Muslim living in a Muslim country, and this Muslim country is allegedly applying Sharia and enforcing Islam, then it is mandatory upon the ruler, the Muslim ruler, to force the non-Muslims to abide by the Islamic rules. So it is not logical to be a Muslim country where everybody is wearing the Islamic attire, and then we get a Christian wearing a miniskirt and walking in walking in the malls and the streets and saying, I'm not a Muslim. No, this is not permissible. They have to abide by our laws and regulations. We have a caller, Muhammad from Nigeria.
Hello? Yeah. I'm in the line, Muhammad.
Yes, Muhammad. What can I do for you?
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam wa rahmatullah. Listen to me. Listen to me from the phone and turn down your TV, please. Well, that was quick. I hope Muhammad comes back to us again. Going back to the issue, so non-Muslims are obliged to obey the rules and regulations of Islam. What they do behind closed doors, this is up to them. So no one would come and say, listen, when we go to football matches, we drink a lot of beer and we're hooligans and we do all these things that you see on TV. So as it's not our religion, so we can do this on the streets and do whatever. No, this is not permissible. Drinking in your own house, this is up to you. As long as we don't see you, as long as we don't catch you doing it, this is up to you. Now, going on the streets, if a woman does not wear the hijab, it is the role of the Muslim ruler and those around him to prevent her from doing this, because she is harming the whole society. It is not her own freedom, because her freedom means that she can go around wearing bikinis, for example. This is not acceptable. It's not acceptable for her to go to the beaches and to the chalets and the cabins, etc., and be nude. This is a Muslim country where Islam must be implemented upon all. What goes between you and your Lord behind closed doors, we have nothing to do this. What goes in public, this must be stopped. But can we stop it as individuals? The answer is no. So any person who, a vigilante, for example, sees a woman not properly dressed and he goes to force her to do this, this is not permissible. This is not up to you. But they're spreading mischief and they're spreading nudity and this and that in the society. It's true, but this is not your role. The only thing you can do is talk. You can write to the officials. You can go to them and tell them that the wrath of Allah would fall upon us if this continues. But you cannot do anything by force. This is not up to you. Allah Azza wa Jal would punish that ruler and those with him severely for not implementing Islam as this is their duty. But it's not your duty to do anything by hand. And this is the methodology and the manhaj of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. The fifth question is from Fadliya. And she says, from what I have learned, wigs are not permitted to be worn. My relative has bought a long braided wig for her granddaughter to wear when she's playing. She is a girl of 4 years. Is it permissible? Is this permitted? First of all, what's the ruling on wearing wigs? Well, there isn't anything in Islam that refers to wigs per se. What is there is the hadith of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, may Allah be pleased with him and others, where the Prophet ﷺ cursed a number of women for things that change the nature of a woman and the creation of Allah Azza wa Jal. So the Prophet ﷺ cursed the women and the ones who do this to them, the tattoos. So tattooing in Islam is totally prohibited, whether it's being implemented on this person or the person doing it and charging for it, even if he does it for free or she does it for free. They're both cursed. The Prophet ﷺ cursed the women who pluck their eyebrows, whether by plucking, by shaving, or by cutting by scissors. This is all prohibited. Those who do it to themselves and those who do it to others. Both are cursed. The Prophet ﷺ cursed those who connect their hair with other hair. So if her hair is this long and she braids it with an extension so it looks longer, or she puts something underneath her hair to make her hair so thick and bulky, so those who see her would think that she has a long hair, she is cursed, and the hairdressers, are cursed as well. And likewise, those who put fake eyelashes that are so long and big. Again, some scholars consider this to be as connecting or attaching an extension to the hair. And also the Prophet ﷺ, and this was applied at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, at the time of the Arabs, they used to consider filming, I think is the right verb, the teeth, the front two teeth, so that you leave a gap between them. So when you smile, at the time it was beautiful, or maybe it's not now, but the issue of filming your teeth and fixing it in a way to look beautiful, this is also an issue where a person who does this and the dentist who does this are both cursed. So is wearing bracelets considered to be part of this? Well, if you're fixing your teeth so that it would look beautiful without any medical need, such as it's not impairing your speech and it's not impairing your ability to eat, but you just want to have nice teeth, it falls under the same category of sin, and those who do it are cursed. So this is the main topics of hadith of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, may Allah be pleased with him. And when a woman came to him and said, how do you curse people who are not cursed in the Quran and the Sunnah? In the Quran, that is. Because I read it from cover to cover and I didn't find anything in referring to this. He said, it is in the Quran. She said, where? He said, Allah says in the Quran, وَمَا أَتَاكُمُ الرَّسُولُ فَخُذُوهُ. Whatever the Prophet ﷺ brings to you as an instruction and order, you have to follow. And whatever he forbids and tells you to stay away from, you have to refrain. Then the woman looked again to Abdullah ibn Mas'ud and said, okay, this sounds logical. Okay, we have to believe and follow the Prophet's instruction, ﷺ. But maybe your wife and daughters do this. So you're commanding us, with things that your own family don't do. And he told her, this is my house, go in and look and come out and tell me. So the woman goes in for 5-10 minutes, looks around, and she meets his wife and his daughters, and then she comes back and says, by Allah, I saw what pleases Allah. You're right, I haven't seen any sign of these cursed things with or on your wife or your daughters. He said, by Allah, if you had seen anything of what I've warned of and narrated the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, they would not have been my family, meaning that he would disown them and he would divorce the wife because she is disobedient to the instruction of the Prophet ﷺ. So the scholars looked at these hadiths, or this hadith in particular, and said, if it's not permissible to attach an extension to your braid or to your hair, then it's even worse to wear a wig. So wearing wigs is totally prohibited in Islam, with the exception if someone loses his hair in an unnatural way. So someone who's like 30, 40, may Allah Azza wa Jal preserve our dear listeners and viewers, and me as well with them. If someone gets cancer and he goes or undergoes chemotherapy, and he, due to that, has a lot of hair loss and he's completely bald, or she is completely bald. In this case, this is a defect. This is something that is not natural. That is why it is permissible for him or her to wear a wig and to hide this defect. May Allah cure all our Muslim patients and cure all patients of all faiths and restore their health back to them. Now, for your question, Fadliya, what bothers you most, I believe, that this is a 4-year-old girl. So she is not held accountable on the Day of Judgment. So what's wrong in her wearing a cap with braids attached to it, so anyone who looks at her says, MashaAllah, look at these long braids, and she looks cute, she looks funny. She's 4 years old. And this is an issue that most parents seem to neglect, and they always ask themselves questions, if she's not accountable, so why should I care? Well, the child is not accountable. The parents are, in the sense that, I will continue this inshallah, but I think we have a phone call from Ahmed Umar from Uganda. Ahmed Umar, yes, what can I do for you? Turn down the volume of your TV, please.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Turn down the volume on your TV and listen to me from the phone.
I'm inquiring about Rajab, this month, Rajab.
Yes, Akhi.
Month of Rajab.
Yes, what is your question?
I would like to know what acts should be done in this month of Rajab.
Your line is not clear, Ya Ahmed. What's your question?
What acts should be done? What acts should be done in the holy month of Rajab?
I'm unable to understand your question, Ya Ahmed.
I'm saying, hello?
Yes, Ya Ahmed. Can you
In this
speak?
holy month of Rajab, what are the good acts one should do in this holy month of Rajab?
What is, okay, Rajab, the month of Rajab. I get your question, inshallah. Okay. Brother Ahmed Umar.
One should do in this holy month of Rajab.
Yes, I'll answer your question.
We call it the holy month.
I will answer your question, inshallah, Akhi. Okay. Ahmed Umar from Uganda asks about the forms of worship to be done in the month of Rajab. I think this was his question, but you never know. This is usually what people ask. The month of Rajab is one of the sacred 4 months in Islam. So we have 4 sacred months as mentioned in chapter 9, Surah At-Tawbah, and these months are the month of Dhul Qa'dah, Dhul Hijjah, which is number 11, number 12 in the Islamic calendar, and Muharram, which is number 1 in the Islamic calendar. And then the month of Rajab, which is the 7th month of the Islamic calendar. So 3 months in a row and 1 month isolated, which is the month of Rajab, which we are in this moment. This is the month of Rajab. Today is the 11th of the month of Rajab. Now, what are the forms of worship? These sacred months that Allah Azza wa Jal has mentioned in the Quran, there isn't anything to do anything special to be done in it, except to not have any form of aggression towards ourselves by sinning. So one should pay a lot of attention throughout the year to not sin, and specifically on these 4 months that are sacred. This is exactly what Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned in the Quran, that we should not have any dhulm, any aggression against ourselves, and that is by sinning. Okay, is there any special bonus for doing Umrah in Rajab? No. Is there any special bonus for night prayer? No. Is there any specific night that is highlighted in Rajab, like the 27th, for example? Some people, especially the Sufis, believe that on the 27th of Rajab, it was the miraculous night journey where the Prophet ﷺ was taken to Al-Quds, and then from from Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, he was ascended to the 7th heaven, and there was the 5 daily prayers given to him, and he met the prophets and messengers, etc., and he spoke to Allah Azza wa Jal. And he came back in less than, in a very little time, maybe an hour or two, Allahu A'lam, how long. And this was known as the miraculous night journey. So, unfortunately, some of the Muslims, because they're innovating in Islam, they celebrate this night and they make like a moulid, and they make it a feast to celebrate, and this is an innovation. Because none of the companions, may Allah be pleased with them, had ever mentioned it or even celebrated it. The Prophet himself did not refer to it or request us to do anything on that particular night or any other night in the month of Rajab. Therefore, if you know better than the Prophet ﷺ, say so. If not, then you have to follow his footsteps, and you cannot innovate in the religion of Allah. So there is nothing specific in the month of Rajab to be done. No fasting specifically for that month. No recitation of the Quran, no night prayer specifically. If you do recite the Quran and do night prayer throughout the whole year, it's the same thing in Rajab, business as usual, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. Okay, Fazliya, a lot of the parents think that because their children are so young, it is okay for them to bend the rules, if not break them, every now and then. They're not accountable. And I apologize, Fazliya, again, we have a caller. Rayhana from Saudi. Rayhana.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah, Sheikh Asim, I have a couple of questions. I wanted to know if one is diabetic and unable to fast, and if it is very hard for him or her to fast, still she has to fast, or can she leave? The obligatory fast I'm talking about. And it's very, very difficult. So with that difficulty, one must fast, or can she leave? And my second question is, in Peace TV, in Amdatul Ahkam, you were talking about the Umrah. If someone is going to Jeddah, and before only he has the niyyah of Umrah. But the thing is, she was in her periods, and she thought that she will go in Jeddah and stay there. And then when she is pure, she will wear ihram from her relative's house and then go to Makkah. So is this intention okay, or she has to go to Miqat, because we are coming from Eastern Province? So shall she go to the Miqat, or from there she can tie? And my third request is your website. I just wanted to know your new website. Jazakallahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, Sister Rehana, before I take her questions, let me finish this once for all. So Fazliya, those children are not held accountable for the wrong things they do, because Allah Azza wa Jal has uplifted the pen so that no sins would be recorded to them until they reach the age of puberty. But the parents are sinful. So if a parent, for example, gives his daughter some champagne, this is haram. Says, okay, he says, yeah, she's a kid. Yeah, but you are the one who'll suffer in hell. If he gives her a cigarette, if he allows her to listen to music, if he enrolls her in lessons of ballet or dancing, etc., he is the one who will gain the sin. And this poor kid is not sinful, but they will grow on practices that are not related to Islam. Therefore, these braids are not permissible for the children to wear, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. Rayhana's question, number one, if a person is unable to fast. Now, this inability is either due to a reason that will soon go away, inshallah, whether it is traveling or falling ill, or it's for a reason that is chronic, and doctors say that it would never go away. So if it's the first, if a person is ill or he's traveling, in this case, Allah Azza wa Jal has exempted him from fasting that particular Ramadan, and he's obliged to make up for the missed days whenever he's recovering or residing. So if a woman is sick, if a man is sick, and after Ramadan is over, a year or two, he has recovered, now he's healthy, he can make up for the missed days, he is obliged to do so. And likewise, if a traveler it becomes a resident and goes back to his country or resides in another country, he must make up for the missed days. If the illness is chronic, in the sense that the doctors say you must take this pill every 5 hours, or you will die, or you have an illness, you have kidney problems, you have hypertension, that if you don't take the medication, you will die, or something awful would happen to you, and this is incurable. You're like this for the rest of your life. In this case, yes, you may skip fasting, because if you do fast and harm yourself, you're sinful, even if you fast. And you have to feed a poor person for every day you missed during the month of Ramadan. So this is expiation, because you are unable to fast. Now, if someone is in between, he's sick, but he can fast with difficulty. The scholars say fasting is one of three. Either you can fast and this would not harm you, and this would not delay your recovery. In this case, you must fast. Two, if it is hard for you to fast, but it is not harmful, it is hard and it's difficult, in this case, it is recommended that you fast. Though this hardship depends on and differs from one person to the other. If it's so hard that he is unable to fast due to his illness, and he can make it up later on, then it's permissible for him to skip. It is recommended that he fight this hardship a little bit. But if it's a little bit too much, then it is recommended that he does not fast. Allah Azza wa Jal has given you a permission. Thirdly, if it's dangerous for you, if it is going to delay your recovery, or it's going to make more harm than what you are already in, this becomes prohibited, and you're sinful if you fast. So I hope this answers your question. Her second question was about a woman who came with the intention of making Umrah. So she drove all the way from the eastern province, and before reaching the miqat, she got her menses. So she said to herself, okay, what's the point? 7 days. I'm going to go to the hotel in Mecca, stay there for 7 days. Once I get pure, or to Jeddah, and once I get pure, I take ghusl and make my ihram and go. Is this permissible? The answer is no. As long as the ring, which are the miqat area, miqat zone around Mecca. So you have Dhul Hulayfa, Abiyar Ali, you have Juhfa, Rabigh, you have Qarn al-Manazil, Taif, you have that Irq, Al-Durayba, you have Yalamlam, which is Sa'diyah. All of this are surrounding Mecca. Whoever passes them, whoever passes this circle, this border, with the intention of making Umrah, whether the Umrah is to be done today, after 5 days, after 10 days, he has to assume ihram from the miqat. So by passing and going to Mecca directly, once you get pure and you perform your ghusl, you go back to your miqat, which is Taif. It's about 45 minutes drive from Mecca. Make your intention and make your ihram from there and make your umrah. Or, which is what I recommend, is while going or driving by the miqat, while you are in your state of menses, make your intention for ihram. And stay in your state of ihram for 7 days or 6 days until you're pure in the hotel, and then have your ghusl and consume or continue, that is, to making your umrah. This is exactly what the Prophet ﷺ ordered Mother Aisha to do. So the thing would apply to you as well, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. As for my website, as I stated earlier, the website is www.asimalhakim, one word, .net. So inshallah Azza wa Jal, it's under maintenance, and the brothers who had done this, may Allah bless them and reward them immensely, are working hard to fix the bugs. And meanwhile, you can write to me. Okay, I think it's on the monitor, alhamdulillah. Meanwhile, if you are unable to post your question on the website, you can write to contact at asimalhakim.net. And the questions will come to me, inshallah, and I'll reply to you within 48 hours if Allah Azza wa Jal grants us the life and the ability to do this. My last question on the emails, and if I don't get any calls, then I will conclude the program. This is a warning. Munib says, if I'm in sujood and say the dhikr once, can I make dua after it or after I recite it 3 times? Once is the minimum you can say the dhikr. So if you say in sujood, Subhana Rabbi al-A'la, or you say Subhana Rabbi al-A'la wa bihamdih, this is sufficient. The best is to say it 3 times. And the sky is the limit. If you want to say it 10 times, 20, 50, 100, odd numbers, preferable, of course, then this is up to you and there's no problem. Making dua, a lot of the Muslims think that making the dua is only in nafil salah. And this is wrong. Whether you're praying fard or you're praying nafil, you can make dua in all of your sujood, not on the last sajda. A lot of the Muslims, when they pray, imams especially. Okay, we have a caller. Idris from Nigeria. Yeah, Idris.
Assalamu alaikum, ya Sheikh.
Wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullah.
MashaAllah. Ya Sheikh, I have a question for you, please.
Yes, akhi.
There's an imam in my mosque here. He said that it's not good for you to raise your hand after your obligatory prayer.
Okay.
Yeah, and I want to find, he said that is totally haram. And I want to know, because I've seen it in different places, in Mecca, everywhere around the world, you see people raising their hands after their prayers, but he said that it's haram because
okay.
So Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not do it, so it's totally haram.
You are asking about raising the hands after the prayer, after finishing the prayer, making
after
dua.
The prayer, yeah, exactly.
I will answer you. I will answer you, Idris.
Exactly.
Hayyakallah akhi. Jazakallah khair. Okay, brother Idris. Okay, we have Muhammad from Saudi. Yeah, Muhammad.
Hi, Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Salam wa rahmatullah.
Shaykh, I have a question. Can I do du'as for my personal du'as in other language apart from Arabic?
Okay.
That's my question, Shaykh.
I will answer you, Muhammad.
Assalamu
alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay. Brother Idris' question was the ruling on raising the hands after the fard prayer. And he says that we see a lot of people do this in haram and on TV. And so his imam said, no, this is not permissible. It was not done by the Prophet ﷺ. So if we differ, Idris, if you and I differ, you say this is halal and I say, no, this is haram. What to do? Do we go to the scholars? The scholars themselves differed. So I go to group A and they say no, it's haram. And you go to group B and they say it's halal, it's recommended. Who do we follow? So let's look at the biceps. These people's biceps are bigger and they're heavier and they're so many. And these are few. Is this the way we judge things? The answer is no. So what to do? Allah says, if you have dispute over a topic, then refer it back to Allah and the Prophet ﷺ. How do we do that? You refer back to the Quran and you refer back to the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. So to know whether this is permissible or not, we go back to the basics. We have the books of Sunnah. We should go and investigate and explore and consult the books of Sunnah. The issue in the Quran is not mentioned, definitely. So we have to go to the books of Sunnah. What was it that the Prophet ﷺ used to do? We all know that all the books of Sunnah say, whenever the Prophet ﷺ concluded the prayer, he used to say, Astaghfirullah, Astaghfirullah, Astaghfirullah. Allahumma anta as-salam wa minka as-salam, tabarakta ya dhal jalali wal ikram. And then he would turn his face to the congregation and gives his back to the Qibla. And nobody ever said that he raised his hand. So if we know this, he never raised his hand, nor the congregation, nor did a congregational dua, we know that this is not part of the Sunnah and that we should not do this, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. We have a caller? Safiya?
Hello.
From the Emirates? Safiya?
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salam rahmatullah.
So, Sheikh, I have two questions.
Yes.
One is that if a person is chronically ill for a long time, some scholars are of the view that person should change the name. Is it appropriate? Is it recommended that if you change your name, you might the name might have good influence on the person and you might just get all right? Because we believe that it is preordained. It is from Allah.
Okay.
So we don't know whether changing the name would help. And second question is that if one is out during Maghrib time, how long can we stretch the Maghrib time as soon as we rush home from the market or the school or the college to come back and home and pray? How long can we stretch the Maghrib time?
Okay.
Is it till Isha or is it sometime before Isha? So that's what my question was.
I will answer your question, inshallah.
Jazakallah.
Jazakallah. Muhammad from Saudi Arabia. Muhammad. Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Salam wa rahmatullah.
Yeah. How to overcome mass stress and depression?
How what?
Depression and stress. How to overcome?
I didn't understand the question, Muhammad.
Depression and stress.
Depression. Okay.
Dua for depression and stress.
Okay.
Dua for depression.
Okay, I will answer the question, inshallah. Okay, Muhammad from Saudi says, can we make dua in our sujood in our own language? And the answer is, if you do not know how to do that particular dua in Arabic, you can do it in your own language. For example, if I want to say, oh Allah forgive me, I know how to say Allahumma ghfirli. Everybody knows how to say that. But if I want to say, oh Allah, make my son pass the exams of the universities, how would I say that? I don't know it in Arabic. In this case, you can say it in your own native language without any problem. And you can do that in fard, you can do that in nafil. Some people, some imams extend the duration of the last sajda. So like in dhuhr, he has 8 sajdas, all 7 are in the same length. The 8th, the last one, he prolongs it. This is not part of the sunnah. Safiya says that if someone is chronically ill, some say that you have to change his name to get this illness away and he would be cured. And this is part of the superstitions. This is baseless and it might be shirk, that is asghar, minor shirk, if one believes this, because this is not a legitimate reason for healing. A lot of the people do this minor shirk by wearing copper bracelets and thinking that this relieves them from rheumatoid or rheumatism or pains and aches in their body. Somewhere the energy disket or whatever they call it, and so many things that are baseless in Islam, this may take a person from shirk asghar to shirk akbar, from minor to major shirk, depending on his intention. So be careful of that. This is baseless. Ask Allah for dua, for healing and cure. Make ruqya, give a lot of zamzam water, follow the means that the Prophet ﷺ has directed us to. She says, when is the Maghrib time end? The Prophet told us, alayhi salatu wasalam, that whenever the redness in the twilight, where the sun had set, so when the sun sets in the west and it's gone, you will find redness in that area, in the horizon. Once this redness fades away and is gone completely and replaced by the darkness of the night, then this is the time of Isha, time of Maghrib is over. Unfortunately, even here in Saudi Arabia, they have fixed it to an hour and a half between Maghrib and Isha. And in Ramadan, they extend it into 2 hours. And a lot of the women, they usually anticipate the adhan of Isha. So they know that within an hour and a half, they can pray Maghrib whenever they want, and this is wrong. So many of them pray Maghrib after the time is over, because usually it is between 50 minutes to 65 minutes after sunset. And if you travel from Medina to Jeddah, for example, and you look at the west and you time your watch and you figure out how much time is between sunset and the disappearance of this redness at the west, you will find that it is between 50 minutes, 55 minutes to 65 minutes. So a lot of the Muslims pray Isha, pray Maghrib, that is, after the time is over, and one should be careful not to do that. Muhammad from Saudi Arabia, she says, what is a dua for depression and for feeling stressed? First of all, whatever you feel negatively, this is from shaitan. Allah Azza wa Jal tells us in so many verses of the Quran that the shaitan intimidates you and he makes you afraid of his servants. The shaitan wants to depress you by speaking in isolation while you're there and not being able to hear what they're saying, and there's no one else in the room except the three of you. So by them doing najwa and talking to one another and whispering in one another's ears, this would make you sad and depressed because you think they might be talking about you, and this is prohibited in Islam. And this is the craft and handiwork of Satan. So what to do? First of all, put all of your worries and trouble to Allah Azza wa Jal, because Allah holds the heavens and the earth so that they would not fall. So never think that your worries and trouble are so big or huge. They're nothing to Allah Azza wa Jal. So put your trust, dependence, and reliance on Him. No matter what people do to you, no matter how much they aggravate you or try to sadden you or try to pressure you, leave it all behind. And you have Allah Azza wa Jal who has everything in His hand, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So turn to Him, and He is your protector, and He is your savior, and He will take care of them. Once you have this full dependence and reliance on Allah Azza wa Jal, you will find that your chest is expanding and you feel much, much comfortable. The best dua, whenever you're in stress or in distress, the best dua whenever you have a calamity is the dua of Yunus when he was in the belly of the whale, peace be upon him. La ilaha illa anta subhanak inni kuntu min al-zalimin. There is no God worthy of being worshipped except you. Glory be to you. I admit that I have been among the aggressors. So if you do this and you repeat this and you put your trust in Allah Azza wa Jal, know for sure that Allah Azza wa Jal will be there for you, and He will make all your worries go away. With this, we come to the conclusion of Ask Huda segment of tonight. Until we meet you same time next week, I leave you fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to